Good morning. Let me give you some of that good energy. Because it's a lot of clearing. This is Paulo, for those of you who may be unfamiliar. This is Paulo. Good morning. Get some of this good energy. I don't need no negativity around me. We're going to have an important conversation this morning. And I just want to be able to give you what you need. I have a sister that's going to be joining me in a few. She's installing the app so she can hop on. So she's going to come into the conversation as well. But I just want to give you an opportunity to get the notification that we are live, to ground yourself, because my topic is revenge. Yup. Some people have earned it. And we are not going to pretend that God does not have boundaries and knows how to enforce them. And if God has boundaries on how God is treated, what makes you think you shouldn't have them? What makes you think you shouldn't have them? Right? So get this good energy, give you this smoke, send in positivity, love, comfort, relief. If any of those words resonated with you, go ahead and put the one in the comment section that you needed. I'm sending you love. I'm sending you comfort. I'm sending you relief. I'm sending you power. I am hoping by the end of this conversation, your self-trust is restored. Hoping by the end of this live, your self-trust is restored. Because it's easy to trust yourself it's easy to trust others when you can trust yourself. Yep. Let there be clarity and let there be healing. That's why I have these conversations, because that's what's needed. Let me put this out for my smoke alarm go off. Hold on. Let me do that for y'all. Okay, now let's get into it. What is your definition of revenge? For me, these principles, these terminologies, are just words that we use to describe how we manage the energy. So when people say you shouldn't seek revenge, what does that actually mean? Does that mean that somebody can violate me and I should do nothing about it? Or does that mean I should take what's often classified as a higher moral ground and stance and just let it ride and trust that God is handling it outside of me? Revenge. What does revenge mean? Let me give you the formal definition. Let's ask Google real quick. What revenge means. Hold on, y'all. My guest is trying to get in here. Let me just message her real quick. Because she wants to come in here and she has something important to say. So I want to make sure she gets in here. So, according to the Oxford Language Dictionary, revenge is the action of inflicting hurt or harm on someone for an injury or wrong suffered at their hands. To inflict hurt or harm on someone for an injury or wrongdoing. Revenge. Hurt me, I hurt you back. Hurt me, I hurt you back. Huh. I think it's all a matter of perspective. For real, for real. I think it's all a matter of perspective because honestly, it is your perception. Hold on one second. My guest is having difficulty getting in here. Let me see. Try this one. She's trying to get in here. Honestly, it's a matter of perspective when we talk about revenge because you'd have to perceive an offense, you'd have to perceive an injury, you'd have to perceive being hurt to reciprocate hurt. My definition, I know what Oxford language is saying, but for me, revenge is I'm going to give you back what you offered me. I'm going to give you back what you offer me. By that definition, my love and kindness could be considered revenge. But for me, I'm going to give you back. Do I have to do that? No, but I want to. And prioritizing my desires is part of my self-care because I understand that desire is the seat of feminine power. I am not trying to match your energy, but I absolutely will redirect it. Revenge. And I have a process for how I decide to configure the energy. So my process begins with me assessing my perception of what has occurred. So the reason why I don't have any hesitation, any guilt, any shame around giving people what they shot at me, thrown at me, offered me, is because I've taken the time to assess the impact. And I discover that nobody has more power in my life and in my destiny and the outcomes than me. You could be talking shit about me. You could be saying all kinds of things. You could be at your altars, lighting candles, making sacrifices, doing all kinds of juju, trying to shoot something at me. But the only way it can land in my life is that I believe that it can. And I don't hold that belief. But people who move like that often believe that I'm doing something to them, hence why they even do all of those things. Right? Hey, y'all, my sister's coming in.
Hey, how are you?
Beautiful! You made it! I'm warming them up for this. I'm warming them up. So they're already getting the definition of revenge. So I'm going to just I'm going to catch you up. So I was saying to them that Oxford Language Dictionary describes revenge as to inflict hurt or harm on someone for an injury or wrongdoing, right? And so that's what Oxford Language says. But I said Tamer's definition is a little different because for me, it's just about the energy management, right? So first off, I don't believe anybody can truly harm me unless I believe they can. But when people decide that they want to come for me, I just redirect their energy. I just let you sit and how you show up in my orbit. And I think a lot of people get consumed and afraid because there's a lot of programming around the concept of revenge. So people think, oh no, let me just take my hands off of it. But who else is responsible for the management of what you accept and allow but you? So I want to hear your definition because we've been yapping a little bit. I want to hear your perspective.
Oh, I'm trying to get the phone to sit down for 2 seconds, and it's like the
It's okay.
vibration from this engine is vibrating. So my, how I look at like my definition of revenge is it's very cold, very cold. It's like get back. It's from a hurt and angry place, um, from a dangerous place also. Um,
Tell me more
to
about the
me,
danger part.
revenge, yes, revenge can be. To me, like my personal opinion, revenge can be bittersweet.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that with care because sometimes revenge, you don't even have to do anything for someone to get receive the karma, the karmic revenge of their actions and what they've done to you.
Mm,
Um,
I love
and
that.
sometimes, sometimes God has a way of saying, okay, bet, I got you. Don't worry about it. I saw it. I saw what they did. They think I don't see it. I got you. And sometimes you'll have a front seat to
Yes.
see someone get the karma for what they have done to you. And to me, that is where I see that revenge can be bittersweet because it's like I didn't have to be a lamb in the
Why did
midst
I
of a
have to
lot of things
participate in
that
this
has
drama?
happened.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it says like, sometimes you have to be a lamb in order to bring about exposure for the greater good. And it
Mm,
can be painful,
it can be.
but something like revenge to me is bittersweet.
Yeah.
So
So thank you for sharing that. And I want the viewers and those who are chiming in and catching us live or catching the replay. We're streaming on both Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, or what's called X now. So introduce yourself. Tell them who you are, and
okay.
I'll tell them why we're even going live together right now.
Okay. Well, I am my birth name is Jasmine. Jasmine Bird is my married name. I am Kire Omoeshu, and my unified name is Arita Bukula. I also carry a title. I have not been fully chlorinated, but I do carry a title of Yeye Ajeolo Kun Ajeolo Sa, which translates to the mother of wealth that comes from the ocean and the sea. Kire Omoeshu translates to the child of Eshu that does not give up and does not relent. I am the resilient soul. I do
Mm,
not give up no matter what I have gone through. I do not quit. I may get knocked down 9, but I get up 10. And
mhm,
if I get knocked down 10, I'll get up again. And that's just something that I have always loved about myself is that there is a unhuman spirit in me that won't let me give up. And so I just don't give
mm,
up. So if someone says they tell me no, I can't do something, it makes me push even harder to do it. Um,
mhm,
you know, and that's who I am. I am also a beautiful mother of 4 beautiful children whom I love very, very much. I
mm,
also love to give back to the community. I do have a nonprofit, the Bukola Project, um, and for homeless mothers and families, and also homeless individuals. I do a lot of giving back around this time for back to school. I do hot meals in kitchens. I even go out and even help pay people's bills as well and put them into hotels. There was a point in time where I was homeless myself and I still was helping people on the very streets that I was also living in as well. And I don't think people understand that you don't have to be rich in order to still help someone. You can help with someone if even if you don't have a lot, you still have enough. And if you have enough,
mhm.
you can still share what you have. So I'm a firm believer in taking care of people even at your lowest, because when you're at your highest, those people will always remember who you were and your kindness that you have shown. So, but that's a little bit about me.
Deep bow. Do you know how much capacity it takes for you to do what you do and be who you are in the world? And I just want those of you watching us to know this is literally our first face to face conversation. We are having it publicly out loud. And the reason I'm going live with my sister is because I've been posting and popping off. Tamer has been like, pop, 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 pop. He's going. And that's because I stay in touch with the pulse of the people. Every morning, I do a daily ritual of asking the holy ones, where are the people today? And I am very aware that there is a mourning and a grieving happening amongst a lot of people, because the very people you trusted with your head, your ori, with guiding you, mentoring you, coaching you, helping you fulfill your destiny, betrayed you, turned on you. So based on some of the content I've been putting out, sis showed up in a DM like, yo, Tama, you are speaking to my heart. And she trusted my anointing and my voice so much that she shared with me her experience in the spiritual community and having been turned on. In my journey, just to give this context, I grew up in the Christian tradition. I grew up Seventh-day Adventist. I went from being Adventist to non-denominational to like house church. And then I went through what I call my wilderness experience, where I would get up, put on my pantyhose. I can't even remember. I can't believe I used to wear pantyhose. And I used to keep the clear polish in my bag in case they ran. If you could relate to that, put some hearts and be like, OMG. And when I was in that wilderness experience, I would get up, I would sit on the edge of my bed and I would weep because I had nowhere to go. I knew I was at home with God, but I really didn't know where home was for me spiritually anymore. I had outgrown every familiar space. And I sat in that wilderness space for 2 years. And I went from just exegeting scriptures to exegeting the entire religion. And during that time, I started transforming, going through Queen of Fool, Sacred Woman process. And I remember when I cut the perm out of my hair, the woman who cut the perm out of my hair was an ear. She practices Ifa. And I remember her saying things to me that only me and God knew. And I asked her, girl, what church you go to? And she laughed me out like, girl, I don't go to church. I practice something completely different. And the irony is the only reason that that woman and I are no longer sisters today, after introducing me to Ifa and that spiritual tradition, is because she couldn't get enough money out of me. We're going to have this conversation. We're going to talk about it. I remember sitting on her mat and her constantly asking, do I need to initiate? And it would be like, nah, it's optional for her. But let me tell you something. People get offended when they have to pay a cost that you don't for the power that you have. So no human being is bigger than their ego unless they do the spiritual work to become bigger than their ego. And the fact of the matter is, this same woman is going through the streets, running her mouth about me, calling me broke. And I ain't broke. You just couldn't get the amount of money out of me that you wanted. It's wise for you to shut the fuck up about me because there is power in innocence.
It is.
So when you pick a fight with somebody who has literally done nothing to you, here's the principle that I use for revenge. Because my revenge, I don't have to enact. This is the only action I take. My mantra when somebody's coming for me is, you can have her. You can have them. Because what I know is that my love is a covering. There's universal law. But we saw this through the teachings about Christ, that love can override natural law. But if you piss me off, and if you try me and you lack integrity, then I'll just withdraw my love and let natural law do its work and watch God work. That's all I got to do. I don't have to go light a candle against you. I don't have to go see some babalaos and get readings on you. And you spending all this time trying to take down your enemies, and you're going to fall because you're the only motherfucking problem. That's your integrity and your insistence on constantly having an issue with people because you can't get money out of them. You think they're just using your gift? This is why Jesus flipped the tables in the temple, because y'all was just there for the profit. I
Yep.
can't tell you how many times I hear this. I can't tell you how many women show up in my DM, how many women come on my pot crying about, like, yo, I trusted this person with my life. And I called her out on it. I sent her a nice little text message like, hey, yo, I feel like this is a very transactional exchange. And I feel like my heart is more available than yours. Because I thought we were in a deeper dynamic, just to discover that you are measuring my value in this community and in your life based on a dollar amount. I ain't know, but now that I do, I'm clear. But I want you to come in and tell the people about your experience, you know, and whatever way you're comfortable. You ain't got to give as much as you gave me unless you're comfortable with that. But I just feel like they need to
I
hear.
feel there's some transparency, and I'm gonna tell it. Listen, when I first came into this, first of all, I come from a hoodoo and voodoo background. I also come from a Lukumi and a Santeria background in my family. We got some things going on in our family, you know, and I'm the last to practice, kind of like the last of the Mohican. It trickled
Wow.
down to me, heavy as the head that wears the crown. So I went. My mom was like, "It's time for you to learn the magic." I'm like, "Okay." It was not Lukumi didn't fall for me, Pala didn't fall for me, Santeria didn't fall for me. None of those things fell for me, but traditional Isheshe fell for me. Learn Ifa traditionally. I'm like, okay, boom, bet, I'm going to learn it. So here it is. I've moved to Atlanta. I came to Atlanta 7 years ago. I met my first Babalawo through a beautiful botanica here in Atlanta. Ye's Botanica is a well-known one. They have great people, great environment. I met him through them. My first 3 years of experience were great. I learned what I needed to learn. I was given my warriors, but it was Lukumi.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm in the wrong house. Then I noticed that the closer I got to my Baba, there was started to be some judgment from his wife.
Mm.
Um, and even though I knew my place and I made things very clear, because I was married, I made myself very clear that I don't want your husband. There was still some contingencies there. She tried to curse me with a Oshun Ide, brass Ide, that she brought back from Oshogbo when she went for her Yemeya initiation. She gave all the women one, but mine took a little longer than normal to give to me. She said, "Oh, I'm just letting this sit for a couple days." I put it on my wrist. Things started going crazy for me. And I was like, you know what? I know what it is. I took it off and I set it in front of my own altar and I said, show me. I like asked myself, show me. I called my grandmother. I called my mother. Me not even telling them anything was going on. The first thing my mom was said, she said, get rid of it, return it back to the river.
Mm-hmm.
She said, she said, you got a new piece of jewelry? I said, yeah, I did. She was like, return it to the river. She was like, it's cursed and it was meant to kill you. So I walked away from that. I walked away from that particular family. And I was like, okay, this isn't going to work for me. So then I was like, Ori, just show me where to go. So then at that time, I moved from there and I had met another lady who I trusted. She seemed very kind and open-hearted. Then, I got into things deeper with her. I got my Yeshefa with her.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always open, very open and in tune. But I realized that things started to become transactional as well. It was like no money, no talk. If I didn't pay some type of money, I didn't dash some type of money, I didn't do something, it became that I couldn't even get a hold of you or talk about what I'm experiencing or what's going on. I also wasn't being taught properly how to take care of these shrines, how to properly take care of things. So I had to resort back to my old ways and the knowledge that I knew.
Mm-hmm.
So then it was like, okay, you need to be initiated to this and this and that, and the third. But every time I would get together to get the initiation money together, something would happen. And
Mm.
and not something small either. It was like death, like detrimental.
Mhm.
Like shit just was like no, no, no. And then I took these major losses with my home. I took major losses with my
Wow.
finances. I took major losses with my businesses. And I was like, you know what? Let me step back and let me just get an outside opinion. I said, I said, guide me to somebody who can help me in this situation. And I was guided to a beautiful Iya who I said, listen, I said, I just need to know what's going on. I didn't tell her anything about my situation also.
Mhm.
And she was like, because you're not supposed to initiate through these people. She's like, these people just are greedy and they just want your money. And I was like, I kind of figured
Pause
that.
right there. I want to ask you something.
Sure.
When you recognized it was becoming transactional, what kinds of things were they saying to you when the adversity hit? Were they making you feel like something's wrong with you and that's why you got all these money problems?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's the
Absolutely.
habit. That's what they do.
It was very much so, oh, it's your fault. You probably aren't doing what you're supposed to be doing. Oh, and then it
Mhm.
was, oh, you have mental instabilities. And I'm sitting here like,
Or it could be you. It could
it
be
could just be,
you.
it could just be you, you know, like you really could be the problem. And
Really.
I think that people in this community do not take accountability. That's something that, you know what, you are the problem in people's lives, and don't try to be a saint because the devil likes to come out and show his face eventually. Like the lady told me, she was like, oh, you know, people act sane. And that was recently said to me recently in a whole online contingency and smear campaign that they just recently did to me. She
Mhm.
said, you know, I'd say until the cloth comes off. First of all, the cloth been off, it's been on, and I'm still the same person. I will still be that bitch today and tomorrow. Do not play with me like that.
Please.
Like I'm a person. You can poke and poke and poke, and what result do you think that you're going to get when you are being mean, nasty, rude, just disrespectful, and you would expect me to be nice and just be calm?
Still expect
No,
you to bow.
no.
Still expect you to bow.
This is the bow. I'm sorry, but I do not. I will bow before God and the Orumale and the Orishas, but I will never bow before a human and give them the gratification of taking my dignity from me when they know that they are wrong. I just won't do that. One thing I don't do is I'm from Louisiana, bitch. I don't back down from nobody. I
It's
don't care.
so
I
it's
don't
so
care who you are.
terrible. Why do you think? And I really want your honest opinion because I'm an interfaith minister, so I practice different traditions, right? And I
And that's
noticed,
okay. I do too. There's still some things that I
yeah,
stick to
but
that are not ugly shade, but they work for me.
and particularly with Eva, and I
Hmm.
need to hear some perspectives. Why are we seeing this wave of people having the same experience with their babalas and it's like everybody is talking about how
Because
it
people
becomes
aren't being integral.
transactional and
People aren't being integral. It's greed has definitely decided to show itself. The greed is there. The hunger for money is there. Because there's first of all, there is no such thing as a babalawo being full time.
okay.
Orumala himself was not a babalawo full time.
Hmm.
He did many different things in his community. He had many different jobs outside of being a babalawo, and his wife also being the Yanifa. She had an apete B. She had other things she tended to too as well. There is more to it than just paying for everything. First of all, as long as they can keep you paying, you will never learn anything. You will stay stuck. You will never progress on your journey. You will be literally a student who is paying them. You are now a customer for the rest of your 6, 7 years until they have collected enough money from you. And then the next thing you know, okay, now then after 10 years have gone by, you done almost gave them $60,000 to $70,000 of your money over this 10-year time span. You've initiated into XYZ Orishas or into E5, and now you still haven't learned anything
Wow.
and they can't teach you. But instead of them being honest and saying, hey, I can't teach you about this or I can't teach you about that, they will continue to take your money. And then when you finally wise up, you are now the enemy. You are now the person that they hold contingencies with,
That they want to
or you are
curse, that
unruly.
they want to pray again,
Yes.
that they want to do
Yes,
all
and
this.
then they want to weaponize their followers and their little community and their little group chats to try to demonize you as you being the bad person. And in reality, you were the innocent person. You were the person who really came into it with wholeheartedly wanting to learn and do and be in part and be in alignment with your destiny. But these people literally have taken that from you in a sense that they've knocked you off your path of where you really should be. Or when they find out that your destiny is bigger than them, that's when the real fight starts. That's when they want to put the oh, I
They
can't
always
teach you,
want to be your
or
teacher. How dare you outgrow their teacher?
how dare you even think or fathom that you can be greater or better than them with the things, or how dare you find another way? First of all, like I posted like what 6-7 months ago, I said I am a child of Eshu. I will always find a way. There is no road that I can't go down that I won't find my way back home, and ain't nobody gonna stop me from finding my way back home and back to the middle. I don't care how much juju you throw, I give it no power. I don't care how much hate you throw, I give it no power. I don't care what how many people you try to gather against me, I give it no power, because the thing is, you had to go and gather while I stood alone, and
Planting my feet
I still
with
was victorious
popcorn,
alone.
watching it all work. While you rallying a whole tribe of people to help
A whole
you.
tribe of people to hate one person. And the thing is, where's the people's common sense? First of all, if you don't know this person, where do you fathom that you should go and gather and become a soldier in someone's army and fight in their fight when you know nothing about the situation or what's going on? Do you just blindly jump into a fight and not know what's going on? That's like my sister calling me and saying, hey, these people, right. Like, hey, these people want to, these people are trying to jump me. Okay, why are they trying to jump you? What's going on? And then when I find out that you are the problem, you will have a problem with me.
You know what?
Because I wouldn't
And this
have.
is not unique to just Ifa or like, because even when I was in the Christian community,
Oh, yes.
you had your bishop, and I will never forget the day there was a woman that was mentoring me, quote unquote, in ministry. And as I look back at these experiences, I never asked for your leadership. They saw my power before I did. And because they were parasitic leaders, they leached onto me under the mask of I'm here to help you, but I really
Mm-hmm.
feed off of you until you catch on that I'm a bottom feeder. So, I remember this woman who proclaimed herself as my mentor in ministry. And she had called me one day. She said, the Lord told me to go preach in Pennsylvania. And the Lord also told me to make sure that you drove me and you paid for all the gas. And that when we arrived there, that you hold my cup. Like, I'm not even lying. Like, I wish I was exaggerating. I wish I was making this up. Okay.
Why?
And I literally said to her on that phone, I said, God could not have told you that. God couldn't, because there's no way that God told you that about me, that's what I'm supposed to do. And that woman proceeded to cuss me out. She called me everything from a demon to a rebellious spirit. This is why.
I was called a Jezebel. I've been called a whore. And said people have lied so much on me, and I'm sitting here like, y'all sure got all this information, but I be at the house. I be chilling. Like, y'all, I wonder who I'm fucking sometimes. I be like, damn, who am I sleeping with in real life? Like I said, I be by myself 99% of the time. Like,
this is important. There's a book I read a few years ago about spiritual abuse. And I know
yes,
we're laughing and we're dragging, but this is actually very, very.
it's a real thing. And it's happening so much from women. It's like women are betraying other women. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen on the men's side, because I'm pretty sure it does, just on a different level. But
Yeah, but
I
the
can
men
only
can't be
speak
effective
from
without
my side.
the women, though. The men can't be effective without the women. They send women out.
Yeah.
And the women will
But
take them
also, another
to
thing
just
too
for
is that these men, they this is my experience in the Ishe community. They have so much to say about what's a woman's problem, but yet when the problem is stemming from you and your lack of accountability for holding your godchildren accountable for the things they say and that they do to other people, it's like then you want to act like, oh, well, that's not the case. No, it is the case. The case is that you needed to check her when she started talking mess about all the people in your Elay and including your wife. That's what you should have checked her on. I said, but the thing is, the secret comes out eventually that what your wife didn't know is like you got something going on in the background with your godchildren. All the women in your all the godchildren, all of them who are over the age of legal age, you got something going on with them. But you want to sit here and play like you're innocent. Like that's the problem with a lot of these babalawos is that they're sleeping with their godchildren, and then these godchildren are sitting in the faces of these people's wives, and these wives is being oblivious, or even they know and just don't care. But
And
my
we're
thing
seeing
is,
more and more cults be dismantled.
yes, it's becoming very occultish. Yes,
Of a cult, and the abuse goes to a whole nother level. I'm using my platform. Some of you
but
listening, you're like, this is a lot, but I don't care. Like, it's too important to keep hush culture intact. You don't owe people
because
respect
so
who
many
are
people are
blatantly
afraid.
disrespectful.
So many people are they let me tell you why they're afraid. Because these people, they threaten to throw juju at them. They threaten to use death magic. They threaten to hurt and harm them. They threaten to make up some false lies and have you arrested of some way, shape, or form. These people literally threaten people, and they try to cause hurt and harm to these people. And that's the problem. It has to stop. Stop with the I'll use my following to cause you harm. If first of all, why if anybody was paying attention, it's like, why would you want to associate yourself with someone? They'll do it to me or to you, Thema. They'll do that to
You got
anybody. So
next.
whether it's just not your turn yet. But if you stood by and watched an innocent person get defamated, hurt, harmed spiritually and physically, and you said nothing and did nothing, just understand when it's your turn, because your turn will eventually come, that no one's going to save you either. And that's the problem, is that people are so scared to speak up because they're scared of being spiritually at war. Baby, look, like I told my beautiful sister, Lola, I said, listen, whether I die standing, or laying down, one thing is, I'm not going to just sit back and allow it to continue to happen. I said, I'm not going to sit back and be like, oh, it is what it is. But if I die by spiritual warfare, believe me, somebody watching this video, like, well, you know what, she spoke on it, but you know what, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep fighting. So people are like, you know what, if y'all want to throw, hey, throw, but I know the protection I carry. So be prepared for whatever you throw at me to come back to you times 3.
So
So,
yeah,
and that's it.
that is an
So,
important
but
layer.
people do that.
That's an
They do that to
important layer.
the younger people too. Like
But
these young
here's the
kids,
bigger thing,
that
because
to me,
go ahead, finish your thought.
the younger people also who coming into this, they have no idea what they're really even coming into, because these people don't tell them. So these young kids are coming out their pocket hundreds of dollars for some elecades, hundreds of dollars for something that doesn't even correlates with what they be teaching, and they prey on these kids' vulnerability and ignorance. And then when these kids find out the truth, these kids are not like us. These kids will go home and come back with a gun and their homies and beat y'all up or shoot y'all. But y'all continue to play with these kids like these kids don't have worse temperaments than these adults.
So let's get to the solution, right? Because I think we have given a very clear picture in multiple ways and multiple layers of what the problem is. But for me, the biggest problem is what we believe. That's the biggest issue. Because I live like Jehoshaphat. Like, I ain't got to fight. I just get notified when the war is done and I go collect the spoils. So there are more people fighting towards me than me ever feeling like I got to do anything. And I remember earlier this year, I got a call for a woman out of the country she was on my email list, and she, just trusted me just like you, and literally was battling for her life because this Ia was offended and started doing juju to try to take her life, right? And I've seen these people boast about that. Like, they be in the marketplace literally like, yeah, you mess with me, I'll take your life. I don't play with my
That's
enemies.
a bully.
And I'm
That's a
looking
bully. That's a
like,
spiritual bully.
you think that's cute? It's toxic. Toxic leadership. So anyway, I told her, because she was very vulnerable with me. She said, Tama, like, how do I protect myself? And I told her, stop believing that she's a threat. Because everything is energy. And right now we are going into the age of Aquarius, and all of the systems that have been established that do not align with nature are crumbling. This form of spiritual practice is not sustainable in these hands. It will fall. But the only reason it has any energy is because people give their energy. You believe in this. You believe that when they go and they do this thing, that it actually can take root in your life. I don't believe that. So y'all could say as much as you want, you could do as much as you want. I know my body obeys my word and my consciousness. I know that my life, my bank account obeys me. Like my life belongs to me. My life is not yours unless I give it to you. There's a quote I want to share from my favorite book. Y'all know I love A Course in Miracles if you follow me. And it's on page 633. And it says, the truth behind illusions. And it says, you will attack what does not satisfy, and thus you will not see you made it up. Let them waste their energy trying to take you down while you just minding your business and living your best life. Your personal joy, your personal self-concept, your personal relationship with the Holy Spirit, the divine one, whatever you call God, is going to override anybody else's perspective and energy. You don't have to believe that. And you don't have to give that any more energy or attention, because your attention and your focus absolutely dictates what happens next. And I serve spiritual leaders. So I don't want to end this conversation without acknowledging that I know the experience of being used and taken for granted as the teacher and the mentor and the coach and the way shower. So I understand the temptation to whip on people. I understand that. I've had my own lessons around that. But I keep myself aligned with my life, and I allow people to do what they need to do with their life. I don't feel like just because of the knowledge I've obtained, I'm somehow now the appointed one to make sure you fulfill your I could do everything you need me to do. I could do nothing at all. Your destiny is in your hands. I'm not here trauma bonding with the people I serve, using their support and trust to validate my ego. That's not my assignment. I'm not interested in that. And when I found myself getting overwhelmed by the demand people were placing on my energy, I said, it's time to amp up the self-care, Tama. You're serving too much. You're giving too much. You're letting people latch too long. But would I abuse them? Would I find the will to go try to curse them and take their life? I ain't that off. I don't need to do all of that to prove a point about who I am and respecting me. Like, what is that? That is ridiculous.
And that's where the mental instability comes in, that they say that everybody else has except for them.
Yeah, it's a projection.
It's a projection.
Mm-hmm.
It's a deep-rooted projection. It's from a hurtful place. And I get it that hurt people.
True.
I get it. But at the end of the day, you are a leader that people in the community look up to. And you have a certain standard that you hold yourself at. And whether you do good things or you're doing bad things, it eventually comes out. But you can't keep going around hurting people and breaking people and think that there's no consequence for that.
Yeah, no, it's universal law. You're going to reap what you sow. It's universal law. You're going to reap what you sow. The solution for me is we got to elevate our beliefs. We got to stop believing that we have so much power in each other's lives. We got to properly place the communal exchange that we share of trying to develop ourselves spiritually. Take people off of pedestals. And those of you who have learned to enjoy being on one, take yourself off of it. Everybody relax and give each other permission to have their own journey. Let's stop monetizing so much of this and making it so transactional. And let's really just learn how to tribe for real and be in community without so many invoices. Because psychologically, programming people that you can't get what you need from God unless you pay this certain dollar amount, you don't think God gonna have something to say and do about that? You don't think, like, stop posturing up God and God power and spirituality and saying this is the only way you can get what you need that God already put inside of you. And y'all stop taking the bait. Those of you who are shelling out $100,000 here and like, do you just look at it? Like, does it really make sense to you? And I'm not saying that you can't invest and compensate people for their time and what they sow into you, but you know when you being hustled and somebody popped the trunk on you. Stop ignoring those red flags and stop respecting people who you know violate people. Get out of that city, get out of that tribe, get out of that energy. Check on
I
yourself
think
and see if it's in you and cleanse. Go ahead.
I think the hardest thing is that people want to be accepted and find a place spiritually so bad.
Yeah.
And I can say that because I speak from experience. I wanted to find my spiritual tribe and my spiritual home so bad
Mm.
that I accepted, and I can admit that I accepted and I allowed so much to go on for so long.
And just ignored it.
And, and it just ignored the signs and all these things that were there. And that was a hard truth for me to swallow, that these people, even though they claim to have had my best interest at heart, they really didn't. Because so this is what I did intentionally. I pulled the money back.
Just to see.
I said, let me see, if I have nothing, will they still care for me the same way? And each and every time, people have failed me. That's why I tell people, I will test you before I bless you. And people's like, I love when people think they know my life or they know me, and they'll be like, "Oh, you broke and you homeless and you homeless yourself," and I'd be like, I just be quiet, because people don't know my life and they don't even know me.
And
I
you
can go
get
inside I can go inside my messenger inbox right now, and there are several people who are not even in America who I have helped with their children having typhoid, medical bills. I've helped them build houses overseas. I also personally, I am a partner in a hedge fund firm here in Atlanta, where I actually help with investments and infrastructure in foreign and domestic countries. But y'all wouldn't know that about me unless I announced it today. I am like the silent earth angel that walks around and I do things for people because that's always been my nature.
yeah, that's
But
your
when I saw how I was treated and received by the people that I wanted to be accepted by, and the people who I really loved and I gave even generously to them, you know, it it showed that I wasn't even a student. I
mm,
wasn't even a customer anymore. I was just an ATM. And to
ouch.
be made to feel that way when you are on your journey and you're really just trying to find your place in the world after experiencing so much trauma from a child to your adult life, and you're just trying to find your place and heal from that. So these people come into these places hoping that these are safe places for them. And I know with my experience, I wanted a safe place. And so I stayed. I dealt with the abuse, the verbal abuse from people. I've dealt with the mean girl syndrome from people. I
Mhm.
dealt with all these things from these individuals, and I stayed quiet and silent. And it was hard. And I know that there's somebody else out there right now who is going through probably the exact same thing, if not very close in similarity of what I've experienced or what you've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, when do we draw the line? Where is the real safety net? Where is the, hey, this is wrong, and we can't keep doing this to people. Like,
You said something key, because I know that feeling of longing for community, like I shared when I was in the wilderness. I didn't know where to sit down and connect with people. I was looking for people of like-minded spirit. But I must also recognize that I never wanted other people more than I wanted God.
mhm.
I've always, and to this day, the intimacy, the relationship I have with God is the most important thing for me. And then the relationship I have with my community. And for me, that's the checks and balances, because sometimes we fear the necessary period of isolation from others to really connect with ourselves so deeply that when we have to interact with others, we can spot a fraud right away, and that compromise and sacrifice our well-being in the name of the community. But a lot of us do it in the opposite order. We want that, especially if you come from broken households, you come from toxic family dynamics, like you're looking for who is going to love me as I am. And I just want to offer to people that love the hell out of yourself. Be your best love experience, and that will fortify you and make you a severe vibrational mismatch to predatory energy. Because the first law of nature is self-preservation. And so if you really learn to preserve yourself and stop sacrificing yourself just to be included, and you preserve yourself, they're going to realize, I can't get to that one. I can't use that one as an ATM. She's too smart. She see me as I am. And she won't lay down herself and her principles, and she won't roll over and just let me step on her. In the name of being respectful and being the amicable one. Right? So
But also, to add to that, what about the fact of the things you come and you tell these people who are supposed to be keepers of our womb, your secret. So, from my own experience, because me, ain't no shame in nothing I ever been through. I was who I needed to be in every era and every phase of my life, from broke to rich to broke to rich to broke to rich. It didn't matter. So I look at, for my experience, there was a time where I was like, you know what? Hey, let me just ask my Baba for a little bit of help, because I'm in between blessings at the moment. Let me get situated, because my home had took on some severe damages. We ended up having to let it go. And me and my kids, we weren't homeless. We were literally like in between homes.
Yeah.
So it's like, but so for someone to use the fact that I came to you for help as a bullet to try to justify me being homeless or broke, that, and then you shared that with other people, and they used that as ammunition. That was a private conversation that I had with that person. And
Disrespect.
it's like, people will take a moment in time that's a past time at that, not even current energy. They will take your past time events and they will use them as weapons, but they claim to be secret keepers. That can cause so much distrust, and as a leader in the community, that will cause so much distrust and displacement of who can really trust, or can you be trusted. To me, I wouldn't want to associate with somebody who uses my secrets or my past time of failures or falls in my life as a weapon.
Yeah, that happened to me. The ear that
Because you don't bow down.
when she got upset with me, she literally disclosed things that were in sacred. Like, we want to. Why are you telling people? So you're right, but see, this is what happens when you deal with human beings that you hold here, and that's not really supposed to be their spot. To be honest, right? That's supposed to be in my opinion, God spots. So I've learned to take people off of pedestals and to believe who's right in front of me. And I don't care how many years I spent with you. Yes, your one bad decision with me can cost you all them good years. I don't owe you past glory and past respect when you are being just blatantly disrespectful to me today. I don't have to give you a pass. I can deal with the version of you that's standing right in front of me right now. And if you are bold enough to violate me in certain ways, then you have to be courageous enough for my response, because I'm going to answer. And I'm going to answer in such a way that my hands remain clean, because the truth is you just upset because you couldn't get what you wanted from me. And that's just the bottom line. You can put whatever language on it you want to put on it. It boils down to, I had my own expectation of Tama. I thought she was going to do this a certain way or do what I told her to do, and she didn't. So this is my response. And I say, so be it. My life will still be blessed. My health remains intact. My bank account is lovely. I'm still going to live my life. And I'm willing to sacrifice you to preserve my peace if necessary. If you're listening and this was helpful, maybe we'll do a part 2 if needed. But I've been hearing about this so much. And when you showed up in my DM this morning, I was like, I want to do 2 things for you. I wanted people to just connect with your energy, and I wanted to use my platform for that. But secondly, I just wanted you to be able to speak it boldly out loud. That's part of the recovery.
You know what's crazy is that I divined about it, and I didn't know how this blessing would show up. I'm actually getting lightweight teary-eyed because I follow you. I do, and I love the things you say, because honestly, when I was going through my dark places, when I was experiencing all of that from these people, it was your words of encouragement to keep your head up, be strong through all of this, and don't let what somebody has said define who you are, especially when you know that it's not who you are. And it hurts because I expected so much more from people in leadership. I expected so much more from the people I trusted. And I'm glad I was able to come on here and speak my truth about it, because I was very, very reserved on ever really speaking on it, because I was like, you know what, I don't care. Let people see it as one-sided. Let them have their opinions. Let them believe what was said. And I was like, you know what? But when I divined about it, it was made very clear when it's time to speak. And I didn't know when I would be able to speak about it or how. And I'm just glad that my Ori aligned us to be able to have the opportunity to do it today and not tomorrow. Does that makes any sense? Like, it's better to do it now than later.
Such a blessing,
because I don't know who's watching.
I had no idea. See, when I post and I be firing off on social media, I be doing it for me. I'm just so grateful. I had no idea my posts were participating in your healing and recovery that way. Like, oh my God. Just like my heart just exploded when you said that, because I didn't know that till you just now said it. I don't even personally know her, y'all. I know her spirit. And everything in me, when we were chatting in my DM this morning, said, oh, she's at the tail end of this. And this chapter of her life is coming to a close. Tama, use what you have to let her boldly speak her truth so she can stand in it and move on with her life, no longer feeling the need to reference this. And I'm just happy that you're letting it out. And for anybody listening that has had an experience like this, there are some people who hold a philosophy that you just don't talk about it, just get past it. I don't believe that. If they were bold enough to disrespect you and violate you the way they did, then you be bold enough to respond in whatever way you need to without considering their emotional reaction. You are not responsible for their heart when they have violated. Once they cross that line, take care of yourself. And if taking care of yourself is becoming vocal about your experience and telling your story, I will happily line y'all up on my platform and make it a series and help everybody heal out loud. I have no problem calling motherfuckers out because I sit there wiping the tears. I sit there having to coordinate all the recovery process and help the sisters heal. I don't have enough of it. We will stand up. We will have a better experience of community. We will get better. But we ain't able to do that in secrets because there can be no healing without the truth. It's the truth that will set you free. So, my sister, I can't wait to meet you in person. Next time I'm in the A, I gotta come through. We gotta do some
Absolutely.
yeah, we gotta do
Absolutely.
some things. And because I recognize your spirit, I love being able to position myself to support you and the incredible work that you are doing. You are the mother of wealth. And when you have big energy, because it take one to know one, you are polarizing. There's not a room that you can walk into and your energy not be felt. And I thank God that you are at a space in your life where you're okay with being who you are unapologetically.
And it took me a long time to get here.
Yeah, I'm happy you arrived here, honey. And when you do it for yourself, somebody's watching you like you were watching me, right? And so somebody is going to learn what they need to fully embrace their power too. So it will not be in vain. None of it was in vain. I hate that it happened. I know how painful that is.
Well, that's why I said, I had to be a lamb. Like this was me being a lamb to this community. People, I this is a deep talk that I had. This was to bring exposure bigger than me,
Mhm.
bigger than me.
You're
And
participating in something bigger. They're trying to preserve the way they always do things. You're participating in the new wave of how things will be done. And that's the difference
yeah,
between you and them. It's as
and
simple as
you
that.
know, it's absolutely. And I took it as, what this is. I'm glad that the universal energies use me as a catalyst for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because to me, that is an honor to be used as a catalyst in the best way to bring about a better change and a better way of doing things, and to really bring a light and shed light on things. Of everything that is, there's three things that can never be hidden for long. That's the sun, the moon, and the truth.
Come on. Say
And
that.
whether or not we want to stay hidden in the shadows, eventually the shadow is standing right beneath you, and you cannot hide and cover it anymore. When the sun is high, there is no shadow.
What Cat
When the
Williams
moon is
what Kendrick do? Listen, it's that kind of year.
don't
I
tell
don't
no
know why
lies
people
about
don't
me,
even
and I
play
won't
with
tell
the
no truth
truth.
about you.
Why you playing with the truth in 2024? That's not a good decision.
Good decision. It's not a good decision. But we have to also understand too that these people, they really are not like us,
No, they not like us.
and they're not like us.
Let's Kurt walk right there. And the
And just
last thing I'll add as we wrap up, if you are listening and you need to repent because you've been a poor leader at some point and you've wounded people, please just humble yourself. Okay. I've been there. I've had to call people, apologize. What do I need to do to make it right? I did not know what I know now. But what I'm not going to do is live in the violation, knowing that I violated people. Everybody's allowed to make mistakes. Everybody has the opportunity to correct them or be corrected. So I hope that this was valuable to those of you tuning in. Thank you, because we literally just
thank
was in
you.
a DM early this morning, and I was like, you know what? Let's just go live and just talk about revenge and talk about, what we have experienced in spiritual communities. And I'm so happy that you were able to share your story and your triumph. You didn't just talk about how painful it is, you also talked about where you arrived today. And I think that's inspiring. So I hope y'all
Absolutely.
found value in it. Thank you to the Facebook people listening. Thank you to the YouTube people listening. Thank you to the Twitter people listening. We'll come back and look at your comments. And if they want to connect with you, because I have people that's in Atlanta, how do they stay in touch with you?
You can find me on Facebook. Type in Kiria Moeshu, my name, it should pop right up. Or you can find me at Sliced Pineapple and Prosperity on Instagram.
All right. The gram and the Facebook is popping. Y'all have a great day, and I hope you got what you needed. Peace.
Peace.